Signs that you may have borderline personality disorder. This is not bipolar. A lot of people confuse these two and get it mixed up, but they're different from each other. Let's talk about it. Number one, you have a long history of childhood trauma, and the things that happened to you as a kid still affects you in your day-to-day life today. The things that happened to you when you were growing up, because you were able to get past them and work through these issues. You're suffering still in your relationships, you're suffering at work, in your interpersonal relationships, not just your romantic relationships. And you're also suffering because of the way that you view the world. The unfortunate things that happen to us as kids, when we experience these things, it's hard to move past that age. So if something awful happened to you when you were 11, you might be 27 today, but mentally you might be stuck at the age of 11. One of the most common ways that child trauma is expressed in an individual who has borderline personality disorder is through age regression. With age regression, you can see this in many different forms. If you have a woman who experienced a lot of child trauma and she's 37 and she's going through a hard time right now, the way that she may regulate herself and self-soothe could be by putting her hair in a ponytail or kicking her feet up or doing things that she did when she was a little girl. Likewise, when you have a boy, when we have an adult male who's going through a difficult time, the way that he may regress could be by playing video games that he played when he was a kid, or maybe wearing shirts that you wore when you were a teenager. Generally speaking, age regression is not just something that's exclusive to borderline personality disorder. However, it's a common trauma response that's experienced by a lot of people who have BPD. Number two, you have a fear of abandonment. When you have a fear of abandonment, it makes it difficult for you to leave relationships and to leave situations that are not favorable to you because you don't have that leverage. Your primary fear is being left behind by the people who love you, regardless of how good or bad the situation is. And this is difficult. This is a slippery slope because if you struggle with the fear of abandonment, you can be in a toxic relationship and you can do your best to set boundaries, but your boundaries are not going to be respected because you really care if this person goes or if they stay. So because you care so much about this, you're going to alter your behavior in certain ways so that when the person is about to leave, they'll stay because you disregard the boundaries that you set for yourself, all because you didn't want this person to leave you. I do believe that this fear of abandonment is directly linked to the childhood trauma. A lot of times when you depended on people during those formative years to look out after you and to be there for you, and they weren't there, that's a deep wound in the scar that people often spend years chasing. And the worst part about this is that you will sit in relationships and situations that don't serve you, that don't bring you any benefit, but just because you don't want the other party to leave, you'll take just about anything. Number three, you experience sudden mood swings. And these mood swings can happen over the course of a couple of minutes or a couple of hours. This is very different from the mood lability or the mood fluctuations you see in bipolar disorder. With bipolar disorder, the distinguishing feature is something that we call mania. And the mood swings, for lack of a better term. The mood swings or fluctuations that we see in bipolar disorder, these happen over the span of a couple of days. Hypomania is at least 4 days, and full-blown mania is at least 7 days. But with BPD, the mood swings that you experience can be so sudden that it can shock not only the people around you, but also you yourself. Because one moment you were fine and you felt amazing, and the next moment you're just pissed off and it's very difficult to bring you down. So these are a couple of signs that you may have borderline personality disorder. Keep in mind, this is not a mood disorder. It's not bipolar. So we don't treat it with mood stabilizers, even though sometimes we do get those medications. The best thing that we can do for somebody who has BPD is to give them DBT. It's a very specific type of therapy. And I tell people online all the time that if you have BPD, probably the best thing that you can do for yourself right now is to find somebody who has a good relationship with themselves. And because you have this tendency to mirror people when you have BPD, you can mirror somebody who has a solid relationship with themselves. And then you can use that as a blueprint for how you want to treat you moving forward. What's up, y'all? This is Dr. Kojo here. My new course, Understanding Autism 101 with Dr. Kojo, is out now. I've been working on it for a while, and I'm so happy to release it to y'all. If you have autism or if somebody that you know has autism and you want to learn more about the condition, click the link in my bio or use the link here to access the course. Can't wait to see y'all, and thank you for your attention.